Welcome back to the 2025 AVP WAUPACA Open Contender Series event. I'm Taylor Wright, being joined by Rob Espiro. I'm coming to you from Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Rob coming to us from the California coast. And what a matchup we have here on Stadium Court. Ashley Pater, Sarah Wood taking on Macy Jurgger and Madison Shields. We have watched Ashley Pater play several high-stakes matches over the last month, mixing up her partnerships, playing her first event of the AVP Pro Beach Tour Series this year with Sarah Wood, her partner today, then playing several events with Kennedy Coakley, then moving on to Madison White for Denver, and back to the young gun, Sarah Wood. Sarah, Rob, I want to hear all the background that you have on these players, because that's just what you're known for, is your just extensive wealth and knowledge. But the one thing I love to talk about every single time is Sarah Wood making her first debut into a qualifier main draw on the AVP at the age of 14 years old. 14 years old, 1 month and 16 days. She eclipsed the previous record by over 2 years in her first Contender Series main draw. I can't get over that every single time. Today, coming to us at just 17 years of age and looking to make her stamp here at the AVP WAUPACA Open. Rob, take us into who these players are and how they got to where they are today.
Well, with all you've been saying about Sarah Wood, first of all, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. We are seeing an anomaly in a player, a big in Sarah Wood, probably one of the most highly sought players in recent years in collegiate beach volleyball. She stands at 6'2" from Glen Mills, Pennsylvania, but last year got a second in her first, well, not her first AVP. She's played in 18 AVPs, believe it or not, but she'd played so consistently, placing the top 9 all since 2023, and even then she's at 13th her first season on AVP. 3 of the 4 athletes here on this court either have some kind of relation to USC in some way or form, with Sarah Wood being a commit, Ashley Pater becoming a second year, and of course, on the other side of that, Maddie Shields spent her graduate year there, got herself a national championship with Dane Blanton and his beach crew. And then the lone Seminole is Macy Jurgger on the other side, and that stands at 6'1". All very talented and high energy players. They play all with fire, as you see off that rip by Sarah Wood, who will be heading her way to USC in upcoming months. So another highly talented matchup here. Some of the best in the nation going head to head.
Rob, how often do we see a player that can't even rent a car yet have 4 seasons on the AVP Contender Tour Series?
Like I said, it's an anomaly, and we are beginning to see a lot more players with great training, great discipline, skills, as well as volley IQ being younger, which is amazing to see.
Yeah, the pipeline coming from the junior side of the game right now, and then feeding directly into NCAA and NAIA volleyball, and then making their move straight onto the AVP and FIVB circuits has just been incredible over the last 3 to 4 years, something that we really didn't see for a long time. For a very long time, you played some collegiate, but then you quickly made your switch over to beach, and you kind of had to grind it out, and that's not something we're seeing now. We're seeing these, Avery Jackson last weekend, very first AVP event ever of first place at the Denver Open. And obviously Avery, a phenomenal collegiate player, and then just translating that and taking her expertise that she's already learned over there on the collegiate side, coming in with Gina Uringo and pulling off, as we've talked about many times, one of the greatest comebacks I've ever been a part of and got to witness. And their phenomenal win over there at Denver. And so far, Macy Jurgger and Madison Shields here have opened up a 4-1 lead over Ashley Pater and Sarah Wood.
So you're saying this is the first event for Sarah Wood this season, I believe. I heard you correctly. Actually, it's her 4th. I'm looking at the
played her first one with Ashley Pater over there in Huntington Beach.
as we've seen errant ball make their way onto the court. I definitely want to draw attention to Ashley Pater because this last season, she amassed a 31-5 record with Kennedy Coakley. Actually, 4 of those wins were with other partners in Maya Gessner, and the other teammate she played was Calla Tufto. 3-set win in the lone duel she played over that season. But she played primarily at the 2 pairs, which, if any of you follow beach volleyball, she's basically one of the go-tos for that Trojan squad.
Yeah, and Sarah Wood actually playing 2 events this year with Thais Truman. There at Palm Beach and Virginia Beach. I actually got to call 2 of her matches there at each one of those events, and watching Sarah Wood this season so far has been something special. She's playing, as I like to say, out of her mind. She's had some incredible blocking runs, some offensive prowess, and some rips from on and off the net. So playing with the setting perfection, as I would say, from Ashley Pater, certainly a matchup to watch here this weekend.
Also, we can't ignore Maddie Shields. She played 3 years at Pepperdine, then transferred over to USC to pursue a graduate degree, but she's a 2-time top flight honoree. And if you're not familiar with an AVCA top flight honoree, they essentially have won 75% of their matches. And that says a lot about Maddie Shields because her nickname is Mad Dog, and it's very appropriate that you call her the Mad Dog because if you watch her moving behind the block, she has got to be one of the most intense defenders in the game.
Yeah, Maddie Shield is not one that you want to let get a hold of a ball because she is going to put it back at you with prejudice.
Wood elevating, dug by Shields. Jurgger on the high bump set in the middle, and she tests Wood's defense by going to the high cross-court shot, which Wood unsuccessfully knuckles.
Yeah, a little jumbo action there from Mad Dog.
We got our first timeout here with Jurgger and Shields leading 8-3. Pater and Wood trying to gather themselves here after a slow start, so to speak.
Yeah, Ashley Pater, very much known as I would say a student of the game. Really likes to play chess early in some matches and figure out what's going to work against certain defenses and what defense is going to work best against certain offenses. And so far, Macy Jurgger and Madison Shields are kind of running away with this one in terms of they're just firing on all cylinders and giving different looks. Ashley Pater keeps kind of getting caught shifting back and forth in defense and feeling she's making the right read, and Jurgger is just able to push that ball down and away from her. So Ashley Pater's certainly looking to maybe slow the game down a bit and let Sarah Wood catch her breath. Sarah Wood, a good couple of balls up at the net, but has struggled in the peel defense so far, getting burnt on 2 jumbos so far. Sarah Wood needs to really establish herself at the net here and see if she can't slow down that big swing.
You talked about big swings, and both Maddie Shields and Macy Jurgger capable of throwing down some dynamite, as Macy Jurgger, probably we'll say the more vintage or experienced athlete on the court right now. Seeing her back in the 2017-18 season with the USA Volleyball Collegiate Beach Challenge with the Florida State team. Anyone knows Florida State is a highly reputable program. And if you want to win a national championship collegiate beach volleyball, the road has to go through Florida State.
Absolutely. They've established themselves very well over the last couple of seasons and have become a staple name in that run.
9-3 after the attack there.
Yeah, Macy Jurgger, Madison Shields quickly notching another one on the scoreboard there.
Jurgger stands at 6'1" from Fort Myers, Florida, but she resides actually in California. I've been seeing her a lot coaching high school beach volleyball teams and around some of the other events, the qualifiers and other CBVAs around.
So a side out high line there brings up 4-9, 1 point away from the switch.
Pater, standing float, dropping serve over towards Shields. Shields with a soft knuckle into the cable and net. Point going over towards Pater and Wood.
5-9, back to a 4-point deficit. Ashley Pater headed the line here, see if she can't find some good service pressure to push Macy Jurgger and Madison Shields into an uncomfortable hitting window and allow Sarah Wood to go up and use that 6'2" frame to go get us a block.
Set to the right side, and Macy Jurgger with a jam down the line.
Yeah, great swing there by Macy, recognizing the late block move by Sarah, therefore leading to Ashley Pater late getting out there to the line and just snapping that one down the line quickly.
Wood, good pass over to Pater, and 6'2" going high line, seeing the move by Shields, held her in that deep corner, and Wood intellectually goes down the line.
Intellectually going down the line, but just a little long, too much power on that high line there.
Tight pass, picked up by Shield, and Pater going wrist away.
Yeah, good open net dig there by Sarah Wood. Pushes that ball up perfectly for the option. Ashley Pater coming in and making Macy Jurgger pay on the wrist away fadeaway shot back to the line.
6-11 deficit for Wood and Pater. An option ball, overhand dig by Wood as she's pulling off the net. Knuckle pokey, called in or out? Out, misses long.
So that's 2 balls by Sarah Wood in the last 3 that have gone long on high line attempts. So she certainly, we'll look to dial that in. That's something that's a big part of her game, is really establishing that high line from both pins, forcing that defender to kind of sit on their heels and expect that high line that she's able to rip away seam like she likes to do so much. So she certainly needs to continue to establish that.
Shields on the Laura Ludwig kind of serve from the back float line. And it's a heavy ball off the block of Jurgger by Wood going out of play.
Yeah, Wood just putting a little extra mustard on that ball off the high hands and making sure it gets up and away out of bounds.
Pater stands at 5'8", the defender. Now at USC, has a great career still and some years to come for Coach Dane Blanton.
Ashley Pater with a dig there, but not able to keep it in the playable area. So Sarah Wood has to let that fall just past the AVP ball mesh that we see to the side of the courts.
Working Sarah Wood and serve receive. I wonder what Shield and Jurgger are seeing, or what their game plan is here.
Well, 2 things. One, so far Sarah Wood has passed good. I wouldn't say great, and I wouldn't say consistent. She's passed good enough for Ashley Pater to throw some balls up there. But also on the flip side of that, Sarah Wood has had 2 rather uncharacteristic high line hitting errors. So maybe just going after the young gun, hoping they can rattle her and get her off her game plan early. As we all know, anyone who's watched Sarah Wood over the last couple of years, if she gets hot, she is a problem. So maybe they're hoping they can capitalize right now where she feels a little uncomfortable and continue to push her into feeling uncomfortable, and maybe they can find an opening to earn a couple extra free points. Macy Jurgger, Madison Shields right now in control of this first set, 13-8. Ashley Pater, so much time spent around her and listening to the way she talks to her partners. Very calm. I don't want to steal from Savvy earlier, but that Zen garden. Ashley Pater, a very fiery player, but very much able to, kind of calm her partners down and just make them feel just ultra comfortable and take the pressure off of them, even in big moments where maybe they're struggling. So Ashley Pater, I'm sure in that timeout, was a little fired up of, hey, look, let's go find some good points, but also don't worry about the ones we miss.
Well, that's Wood back to serve and non-committal about going up on the block, and Madison Shields exploits that hesitation by Wood. Just came in off the serve, went back in her defensive position and you could see her stutter stepping if she should go up on the net, and decided to pull back.
Yeah, that was you said it right, just a hesitation from Sarah Wood there on the block.
14-8, Jurgger. Tough serve down the line, recovered by Shields. Shields on the attack and flings it off of Pater.
And again, Macy Jurgger, Madison Shields just very much in control right now and able to push Sarah Wood and Ashley Pater into that realm of uncertainty and uncomfortability, and they are capitalizing big time.
Jurgger, the former standout at Florida State, playing for Brooke Niles and the Seminoles. I think you have a lot of connections over at Florida State, don't you, Taylor?
Yeah, I am a Seminole hater, as they would say, coming from the land of the Florida Gators. However, that beach program over there, long storied past with a lot of players here from the Jacksonville area, being part of the coaching staff over there. John Justice, the older brother of my roommate and co-commentator, Jacob Justice. Jacob also spending a little bit of time over there doing some commentary and stuff with the Florida State staff. Travis Merriweather over there as well on that staff now, and man, what a phenomenal staff they have over there. Also Nick Lucena.
Well, I've got to correct you, because Travis Merriweather sounds like he's loaded with tons of cash. It's Travis Mewwerder. I understand it's confusing, because he's like a rich man. He is rich in goodness, and it's just a great writer and a great coach and commentator as well, and writer.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of stuff all over the volleyball world lately. I believe he's part of the Sandcast regular staff, and he just got done doing some commentary overseas. Some great calls by that man.
We're looking at a 10-15, make that 10-16 after the service error.
Yeah, Ashley Pater and Sarah Wood are not finding their groove right now, and that's something that they're going to need to find some momentum late in this first set if they're going to have a run at slowing down Macy and Madison.
Jurgger hitting the hybrid, dropping, and Wood gets underneath it, saved by Pater. Has to be a down ball. Jurgger on the easy read. Pater off the attack from Shields. Pater going to the lefty, saved by Jurgger. Ripped down the line, dug by Wood. Wood, soft roll off the cable. Shields on two, or actually Jurgger on two. And that is the cardiac rally of the day.
That one makes me tired all the way from Florida just watching.
Well, it's a good battle, but that extends the lead to 8 and making it less and less likely that Pater and Wood can rebound here.
Yeah, if I was Ashley Pater and Sarah Wood's coach right now, hanging out with them under the AVP umbrella, the talk is just find our rhythm, right? This set quickly, as you said, probably slipping away, and we can almost chalk this one up to a first set loss, and a big rip by Sarah Wood there, and that's exactly what we need. We just need to find a couple big swings, a couple big defensive stops, and start to get into our rhythm to force a really good tight second set, or even a runaway to force that third set. So Ashley Pater, Sarah Wood, just stay calm, stay collected, and just find that fire.
Well, that's what you did in that outside in approach and that two ball in the middle. And somehow sneaking in that little window was Maddie Shields inside the left hand of Wood and out of the diving reach of Pater.
Yeah, a great move there also by, Macy and Madison to move that ball around just a little bit and really force Sarah Wood to almost a no man's land on the block.
Soft shot roll by Wood. Gets him a little closer, but still, is it enough?
May not be enough in this first set, but they do finally look like they're trying to find their rhythm on their setting tempo. Ashley Pater very well. Oh, and a little sorry, not sorry ace. And Sarah Wood's certainly not sorry this late in a first set, down as much as they are. Ashley Pater really known for kind of moving that ball around, going to a lot of back sets. And she very, very good at pushing that ball out versus just running it up and down set. So if they can start connecting on that ball movement, it's going to be a lot of havoc for Macy Jurgger and Madison Shields to collect themselves and be able to play against that. So, Ashley, you can hear me. Just keep working Sarah Wood back and forth on the net. Really find that rhythm with her because, man, if she can get hot hitting-wise, this is a totally different game.
Number 8 seed serving for their first set point here at our WAUPACA Open as Wood takes a high swing but misses wide, succumbing the first set to Macy Jerger, Maddie Shields, 21-13 to go up 1-0. And I know you're already commenting on what they need to do for Pater and Wood to get back into this, but going to expound a little more as we've concluded the first set, even with an attack error.
Yeah, and that, I don't want to call that a frustration swing. It looked much more like a statement swing from Sarah Wood there. Just, again, really trying to find her big swing. We've watched some incredible bounces from Sarah Wood in some of her tournaments earlier this year, so we know that it's in there. She just needs to find it, and maybe that swing there was just just swing away. And that may have even been the call from Ashley Pater of, hey, if I get you a nice high ball, just go up and swing away. Let's find it. This set's kind of over. They were down 6 or 7. Just go up, rip away. Let's establish that swing of yours, and then we'll dial in the next set. So Macy Jurgger, Madison Shields taking care of business pretty commandingly. 21-13. Ashley Pater, Sarah Wood have got to find some fuel for the fire, and they need to find it early, as Jurgger and Shields are not going to go away easily if they're going to try and take this second set and force a third.
A lot to say about the play of Macy Jurgger and Madison Shields. They are playing really stable and consistent here because they haven't done anything that's really showy or highlight reel worthy, but they're just playing and executing and great placement balls as well as making the right decisions. So it's as slow as it may seem, it just watching them execute has been really interesting because they're playing that very stable mindset, which that consistency factor over a long tournament is going to benefit them greatly.
Yeah, and it's but if you're Ashley Pater, Sarah Wood, that's certainly not how you wanted to see that first set go. I mean, dropping a first set is one thing, but to lose it in that manner is just certainly not how you drew it up.
Well, knowing the competitor that Ashley Pater is, she's probably lit on fire on the inside, because if you've seen her when she's down in collegiate duels, she is ready to go toe-to-toe, so to speak, with so much fire. I know she's not taking that first set loss very lightly, that's for sure.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, funny enough, as a little side story, before we get fully started in the second set, the Manhattan Beach Open last year, I ended up in one of the courtside boxes, not because of being connected financially or anything, just happened to be an open box. Like, I'm going to hang out here. In the box were Sarah Wood, Ashley Pater, Mariah Massey, and Sally Perez. And we were talking. I ended up with Sarah Wood. I asked her, what do you think about where you're at? Because she's a high school junior at the time. She is saying that, I want to be a defender. I'm like, what? You're 6'2", you got a heavy arm swing, and you want to be a defender at 6'2". And she goes, yeah, that's my goal.
Yeah. It's fun to watch her move the way she does. Oh, and tooling off the block there. Sarah Wood wanted that one. She was making a heck of a reach back to the pin to try to corral that ball and just not able to get her hand around it, going right off the kind of the outside of her palm, getting tooled. So 1-1.
So Taylor, while we have a brief pause here, what is the difference between indoor and outdoor blocking or beach blocking?
Yeah, so in indoor, we're going to see much more of a, kind of hands kind of more closed together. We're going to reach this for our lane of blocking. So we're really focusing on taking kind of the inside seam of the ball and forcing the ball down and away. And we're blocking much more, low press, hands closer together as people are just rip it away hard versus on the beach. You're just up there, you're a solo blocker and you're trying to take more space and you're going to go more to like almost a Y block. So you're going to open your arms up a little bit more, try to take more space. And on that one, Sarah Wood, reaching back with her right hand back out to that pin, kind of got caught low on that hand.
2-2 the score after a couple of service errors being exchanged. Looking at Maddie Shields serving it up on our near side with a 1-0 set lead on Ashley Pater and Sarah Wood. And finesse play winner for Wood gives them a 3-2 lead.
A great set there by Ashley Pater. Not the best pass by Sarah Wood, certainly not a shank by any means, but certainly passing a little too tight for Ashley Pater to have many options, but actually able to get there, get flat to the net, and bust out those amazing hands that she's so well known for, and just flicking that ball up for the big 6'2" Sarah Wood and just shooting the ball down Cuddy.
Pater, 5'8" defender from Bradenton, Florida, back to serve. Good serve into the seam and knocking it down as Wood, but cleaned up on the Jurger's Shield side, and they were able to luckily get that winner, which should have been a point for Wood and Pater.
Yeah, Sarah waiting for that ball to come into the plane as she can't really reach over there as it's not the third contact, so she's waiting for that ball in the plane. Instead of being able to throw it down, she just went to a knuckle, not able to put a lot of heat on that, and it's able to get picked up and put right back over the top.
Wood drops to a knee for a perfect pass. Wood read down the line by Shields. Shields lighting it up and little ping pong volley going on, and stays on the side of Wood and Pater.
Yeah, Pater got a dig there, and Wood was able to get a touch on it, but kind of shot it back at Pater. Looked like they're playing maybe a little dodgeball over there, a little bold move caught. Let's see how it works out, and it does not go their way. So another point on the board for Macy Jurgger, Madison Shields.
We see a little equipment wipe there by Sarah Wood, and you are not watching the Ocho, if you know what I mean, because Taylor making some allusions to another great movie. Shields waiting for the whistle. Excellent serve down the line. Lot of pace on that ball, and the knuckle over falls wide.
And you can hear on the stream there, even on our hot mic on the court there, Ashley Pater saying, hey, good try. Sarah Wood just trying to continually, kind of hype her partner up and continue making Sarah Wood feel comfortable and being aggressive. And they really have to find some rhythm, giving up 2 quick points there.
Fields going deep. She's mixing it up back and forth for Wood down the line. Wood uncorks one at the left pin.
Yeah, Sarah finally finding that big swing that we know that she has. That was a great set by Ashley Pater, giving Sarah the ability to kind of crash in to the inside of the court there and just get a hold of one. Sarah really needs to find and establish that big swing over the next couple of points if they're going to make a big push here.
Taylor, you would know more closely here being in that region, but Ashley Pater from a volleyball family has a sister, Brooke.
Yes.
University of Tampa, if I remember correctly, in my relics in my brain.
Yeah, I believe Sarah has 2. Hold on, I want to go make sure I don't have this wrong. Hold, please.
Is that we have a replay called in the court? We saw the ball roll on the side of Jurgger and Shields, and although they got the winner, referee whistles them on for a replay. They get the point nonetheless. Saw Macy fall to the sand there. Thought there may have been a collision, but I think he just was adding a little dramatics to it there.
Yeah, Sarah actually, a whole family of volleyballers, actually, as I have her bio pulled up here. Greg and Krista, mom and dad, both played volleyball and very active still in the coaching world. And two sisters actually both playing. She has Maddie at University of Tampa and Lauren attending Arizona State.
We just saw a blast by Sarah Wood. It was called out, and Ashley now having words with our first referee on duty, and it did look kind of wide, but they need something to stop this early run by Jurgger and Shields in the second set.
Yeah, Ashley Pater, typically a very, I would call a stoic, fiery, but a stoic player, and a big monster block there. But she's starting to get a little chippy here. She's recognizing that Jerger and Shields are kind of maybe starting to run away with this one as well, and she's wanting to find some heat and get themselves back in this game.
Getting spicy on the court as we look at Shields working it off the cable, off the serve. And Wood bounces one right in between an area 6 as it goes into the grandstands.
Just keep swinging, Sarah. If you're gonna do anything right now, you've really got to establish that swing. So far, Jurgger and Shields are honestly reading her shots pretty well. She's had a couple cutties score, but she's got to establish that swing if she's going to open up the rest of her bag of tricks.
5-8. Working Jurgger now. Jurgger rolls it over the top and into the corner, textbook. That was with surgical precision that Jurgger did that. If you saw where it landed just inside that sideline, and the fact of the matter is Sarah Wood takes a lot of airspace. And she's able to navigate through or around that.
Yeah, and also, Jurgger and Shields very much respecting the defense and the offensive capabilities of Ashley Pater, and knowing that if they leave that ball too far inside on that high line and she's able to pick it up, they've got a rocket ship coming back at them.
9-5 after the turn. Woods on the attack and adding a little more velocity to her attacks. Is Sarah Wood picking up some more confidence at that left side?
Yeah, and something I'd like to see Sarah Wood do right now is start going up trying to hit down. She's hit quite a few balls wide and deep outside the back of the court. And so far, the block of Macy Jurgger is taking up some space and maybe forcing Sarah to be uncomfortable, but I don't really know why. She hasn't really struggled against the block of Jurgger yet. I really expect her to just go up and really start trying to rip away. Yeah, another unforced error there. 10 serving 6. Shields back at the line.
Taylor, some of the teams do have coaches. These two not for this tournament, looks like, at least that I can see. But how helpful would a coach be on the bench in their boxes?
So, yeah, if you're new to beach volleyball, one of the biggest differences between indoor and beach and maybe some other forms of volleyball is that coach is not allowed to coach you while play is going on. So during points or even really between points, there's not that ability to kind of stop and talk to your coach and game plan. They are allowed to talk to you during timeouts and side switches. So right now, a coach sitting over in Ashley Pater and Sarah Wood's corner, kind of helping look at some tendencies that maybe Jurgger and Shields are showing and give them some pointers would be hugely helpful. That being said, Ashley Pater is a big student of the game and really does a good job of analyzing and kind of picking up on things. And on the side of Jurgger and Shields, I think a lot of what a coach would be doing for them right now is just saying, hey, foot on the gas as they notch another ace there against Sarah Wood. So I'm not sure a coach sitting in the box of Jurgger and Shields would be earning their money right now, as the words would just be, hey guys, I'm going to go grab a barbecue sandwich from the WAUPACA boat ride staff over here. You guys just keep pushing and don't let up.
Well, Shields looked like she had a remote control on that serve, the way it was moving and dancing through the air with that hybrid.
Over the last couple weeks, and there another big rip by Sarah Wood, though, still trying to establish that swing and really find some points. Over the last couple weeks, Rob, you and I have had the pleasure of watching several especially on the women's side, some players busting out their top spin. And while that certainly looks more flashy and sometimes works out great, this float serve by some of these players, especially the one that we just saw by Maddie Shields and some of those float serves we saw earlier by Savvy Simo, are just deadly with how much movement that ball, even once it just passes the net plane, how much movement that ball has side to side, really forcing these players to make a last-minute adjustment and leading to an ace.
We've got a winner over there, making it 13-8 as we go into our technical timeout in the second set, and it's do or die time here for Pater and Wood. But Jurgger and Shields, again, maintaining that consistent level of play, just being able to use their volley IQ to find where Wood and Pater are not, or just to use the block. And it's nothing flashy. It's basic volleyball.
Yeah, they so far are not. Ashley Pater and Sarah Wood are riding a roller coaster, as I say. Right, they're having some big moments and then some really low moments, and so they're just riding that roller coaster, and they have not been able to, just get on a track and a plane where they can just play consistently. Where Jerger and Shields, that's exactly where they're residing right now. Right, they're driving a Prius, nothing flashy, nothing explosive, just consistent and not stopping at many gas stations. So not really tiring themselves out, not really needing to, refuel. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, there went your Toyota deal, Taylor. Woods, excellent pass, and bringing the heater off the block of Jurgger. Breaks a scoring run by Jurgger and Shields.
Yeah, so now we've got a good, we're on that uptick of the roller coaster right now, and Pater and Wood really need to keep climbing.
Off top of the block goes Wood. Point going to Wood and Pater. 10-13.
So maybe they're going to find their next gear here and get going.
Pater, flat serve down the line. Little showboat action on the slide over to the left pin by Shields.
I think they heard me call them a Prius, and they just busted out the FRZ or the TRD package from Toyota and showing a little flash there.
14 serving to 10 our score here in set number 2. A must-win set for Pater and Wood to force a third set tiebreak. Wood on the dime, and dime leads to destruction up top.
Yeah, Sarah Wood, another good seam swing there. So Sarah Wood is certainly now started to establish that swing, and she's gotten 2 off the platform of Maddie Shields and then 2 kind of down the seam. So look for that block maybe to start adjusting. I think Macy Jurgger might start maybe diving into the seam a little bit more on her block.
Excellent scoop by Pater. Drop shot covered by Shields. Shields down the line. Good save by Wood, and Pater on the delivery. Wood on the bang.
So Wood doing a good job right now, finding that angle swing down the seam, and she's just going to keep attacking that until something changes on the side of Jurgger Shields. The only thing that Sarah Wood and Ashley Pater really need to work on right now to keep this run alive is defense. They're getting some great offensive touches. They've just got to find a little bit more defense and really give themselves a chance to keep runs alive. There we see a ball fall. A good read by Ashley Pater there, just not able to quite get that ball up for Sarah Wood.
Shields stepping back to the service line. 15-12. Pater on the offering. On the crossbody Cuddy, the baby Cuddy winner makes it 13-15 on the turn.
Certainly hanging in there, and they're doing a good job right now minimizing mistakes, finding some points when they can find them. They still really need to put together a run here, though, to put Jurgger and Shields on their heels and open up a lead for a chance to take the second set, as right now, Jurgger and Shields, all they have to do is continue siding out, and they will march straight to a 2-set sweep here in our match on Stadium.
That's a 5-2 side for Jurgger and Wood, but unfortunately, a mishandled ball on the other side makes it 16-13. The 6-1 Jurgger back to the service line, waiting for Peter to clean off her sunglasses on the far side. And these are two undefeated teams in our pool number 4, or correction, pool number 5. So all hopes are not lost by the team that loses this. These have to be a lower seed in the single elimination bracket. Fortunate is Wood out of the left side.
And we see again, Sarah Wood just continuing to dial up the pressure on that cross-court swing. She's just pushing that ball back and forth between almost a sharp angle swing and a seam swing, and Jurgger and Shields don't really have an answer for it yet.
Diving save by Pater. High set to the right side by Wood, and Pater able to find it right down the seam.
And we have just a 1-point lead now by Jurgger and Shields. Pater and Wood finally pushing themselves into a position of striking distance. Another point here would force a very uncomfortable position for Jurgger and Shields, as they no longer can just side out to a win.
Wood deep over to Shield. Back set to the left side to Shield, cleaned up by Pater and Wood. Good cover by Shields as it deflects off the block. Shields gets up, or correction, Pater gets up. Dug by Jurgger. Can Shields get to it? Yes. She gets it over on the second ball and lands in the corner.
Oh, man. Pater got a little, if anyone's been watching the last 2 weeks, they know my favorite term. She got noodled up. She spinning, trying to turn back around and get to that kind of deep free ball, and just got all tangled up with the legs and had to go down to the ground. So Jurgger and Shields side out, put themselves up 2 points, 17-15. Again, Jurgger and Shields now just have to continue this side out game all the way to a win. Pater and Wood need a side out and a reel to force Jurgger and Shields into a duel for the second set.
Stepping in the pass, Wood. Wood blocked up top by Jurgger. Pater cutting inside, dug by Shields. Shields up and over. Woods, good pickup off the off-speed ball, put back by Jurgger. Bum set to the left side of Wood, and Wood unleashes the beast within.
And we finally saw it. We finally saw that switch that I've been looking for. So Macy Jurgger looked like she almost ran a 4 block out of the serve. So she lined up in front of Sarah Wood, taking that late inside big step to block that angle, which is where Sarah Wood has been so deadly so far, which left Madison Shields kind of across to the line. And then in transition, they were not able to get back to that. And again, Sarah Wood makes a pay down the seam.
16-17, inching closer. What does Shields do? Highline roll, and it deflects off of Wood, the pulling Wood.
Yeah, Wood not able to control that ball. It wasn't quite a hard enough or fast enough hit ball for her to just take that ball with open hands. So she went to kind of a tomahawk move with her hands, getting them closed together and not able to control that ball. So a little pinball action off of Woods leads Madison Shields in defense. Macy Jurgger back to the line, up 18-16.
6-1 Jurgger gets the whistle from the referee on duty. Been hitting the standing float, or correction, hybrid float over towards Wood. They have not changed the game plan at all. Ball bounces off the block of Jurgger. Shields going towards Wood, pulling off the net. Wood denied by Jurgger as she lets off a seminal scream.
Well, and again, we just saw it now again. Jurgger and Shields making that big, correction to take away Sarah Wood's deadliest swing so far, which has just been that that deep cross swing. And so Jurgger taking that angle block there and just getting 2 blocks back to back, the second one being terminal. Big move by Sarah Wood he needed here to turn a ball line.
19-16, and ball's blocked up top by Jerger. Jurgger, a defensive force, picked up by Pater. Pater drops it down the line, and Jurgger pulling off the net and anticipated a harder shot, so she ends up digging it below the net.
Yeah, Sarah Wood did go up on her very first swing in that rally there, and she did turn the ball line. Very easily dug by Shields. They are able to win the transitional rally and send Sarah Wood back to the line, 17-19.
On the blast is Jurgger, and she unloads everything and then some. Brings us to our first match point.
What a monster response swing by Jurgger there. After giving up several big swings to Sarah Wood, Jurgger brings one of her own and puts that ball over the barn behind us here at the AVP WAUPACA Contender Series event.
Serving up for match point is Maddie Shields, the former Wave and Trojan. Goes right at Pater, and Wood swings off the block of Jurgger.
So match point staved off, 18 serving 20, Ashley Pater at the line. If you're Ashley Pater, Sarah Wood right now, this is the setup you want for this exact point right here. You've got a tight ball game, 18 serving 20. Ashley Pater back at the line, a very effective server, able to move the ball around well. Sarah Wood being the blocker in this duo, already up at the net, so shutting down any kind of option play and able to go get the best read for a block. Let's see if they can try to make a late push here and take the set away.
Pater to Jurgger. Bump set tight. Jurgger denied by Wood. Jurgger swings the right side, overhand dig, and taking out the trash. Maddie Shields, who needs a 6'1" blocker when the 5'9" Shields can take care of business for the win.
Yeah, Ashley Pater with a great hand dig there, just throws it back over the net, and Shields just IQ play there, just chopping the ball right back over into empty space. Rob, we saw a good exchange there in the middle of that set, and it looked like Ashley Pater and Sarah Wood were maybe gonna make a late push and take that set away, but just falling short. What do Ashley Pater and Sarah Wood need to do going in their next match mentally to get ready, as they certainly had to feel on their heels most of that match?
Yeah, I think that we had actually mentioned a lassoism in our last broadcast at Denver, but memory of a goldfish. They know they can play better than this. Move on. That's a loss. Learn from it and get back to your playing style, which is fiery, ferocious, aggressive, athletic, and entertaining volleyball. We've seen them play excellent ball, not only from a defensive and an offensive standpoint, but they just play well off each other. Their results show it. They are totally capable of taking down top teams. They just came across a very consistent and executing Macy Jurgger and Maddie Shields for this matchup, but yeah, I don't see Pater and Wood staying in this particular funk, so to speak. That I think we're going to see them awakened come the single elimination bracket play, assuming that they are in. But it was a great effort. Not to take away from Macy and Maddie, they played good ball. They did what they needed to do to win, and I think that any team would be satisfied with their performance because they were blocking consistently, putting the ball away consistently, and they were serving tough. They stuck to a game plan, and it had great results.
Absolutely, and you said it perfectly. Jurgger and Shields just need to continue their consistent play, and I think they're going to be a pretty solid force for any team that they face with the low level of errors that they gave up there. One thing I'd like to see out of Jurgger and Shields, though, is make some defensive shifts or defensive changes faster. They gave up quite a few swings to Sarah Wood down the angle and seam ball. Granted, they were up pretty much the entire time, so maybe their mentality was just, we're giving up some swings, well, let's not make any drastic changes. However, there's going to be some other teams that they are not going to have the luxury of a lead to make late changes like that. So Jurgger shields just maybe a faster defensive change, and we saw Jurgger get some amazing touches than that once they did make that change. So they're perfectly capable. I think they just need to make that change quicker.
We've got another match coming up for you here, courtesy of the AVP WAUPACA Open AVP YouTube channel. And it's a 6 versus 7 seed. Both these teams without a win, but it doesn't mean they're not capable of phenomenal play. Number 6 seed DJ Klasnich and Lev Prima dropped their first match in modified pool play, as did the number 7 seed Marcus Carvallis and David Wyzorek. And we know that each of these teams are high flyers with big bombers, so it'll be a good one to follow up with this match here. So for Taylor Wright, I'm Rob Aspero here on the AVP WAUPACA Boat Ride here 2025 as we move on here on day one of the main draw. We'll be back in about 10-ish or so minutes to watch our men's matchup, a pool 6. And this is a win or go home situation for one of these teams. So we'll see you in about 10, and we'll be logging out for just a few moments until we jump back on the stream.